morning. Good morning, guys. Welcome to Wednesday. I'm excited to be here with you. If you're new to me, I'm Burtcher, and I help codependents get unstuck in their healing, restoring their happiness, their well-being, their sanity back to their life, and by simply connecting them to tools that allow them to accomplish that. So, yeah, there we go with that. I'm going to get this shared out to the community. That is my safe haven. It's your shelter from the storm, from the chaos, from the crazy making. It's a place where you can find love, understanding, tools, healing, and guidance. The link is above on Facebook, below on YouTube. And if you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. So I'm going to hop out there and get that shared out now. So today we're gonna talk about focus, because I was browsing YouTube yesterday, and it's the button, because I'm always moving buttons around, right? All right. So I was browsing YouTube yesterday, and I'm watching some videos from other people who work with who talk about narcissism specifically and address that element of it. And my brain started going, we need to do more videos on the narcissist. Now, later this month, I'm doing a masterclass on the narcissist called Unmasking The Narcissist. And if you want to, it's free. You can sign up for it. The link is, again, above on Facebook, below on YouTube. It's on the 23rd at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. That's -7 GMT time. Now, I started just kind of pondering that idea, like, well, let's talk a lot about that. And my brain's, hi, Laura. My brain is like, no. It's just like, no. And I'm like, And that's because when I thought about it, sat with it, that isn't my focus, right? I spent years trying to understand the narcissist and decode them and why they do what they do. And that delayed my healing. Now, understanding has its place. The reason we want to understand the other person, why they're doing what's going on there, is so it can unify our concept of them and our concept of reality or self. In other words, it resolves what's called cognitive dissonance, because we have one concept of a person and then they're doing something very, very different, and it fractures our sense of that person, and it creates a lot of anxiety and confusion, and we try to resolve that by understanding their nature. So it's a natural thing to do, but the trick is it keeps you focused on them. And that's what I'm driving at here with my little title here. Is it on you or the other person? Focus matters, because my focus is helping you actually heal and move forward in your life, rather than stew around trying to understand someone who, in my opinion, doesn't deserve that kind of time and energy from you, that kind of investment. The reason why is because it comes down to abuse. I've learned over the years that if someone's abusive to me, I don't need to understand why they're abusive. I need to understand that they are abusive and then make choices that work for my well-being, that amplify my safety and my security, rather than trying to understand where they're coming from. Because fundamentally, people with chronic abusive behaviors are coming from a premise that isn't going to correct itself generally. I mean, there's nothing I could do to influence their change. There's nothing I could do to cause them to create some self-reflection and empathy and make a change. That's out of my bounds. That's their job. My yard, my bounds is my well-being. So when I started approaching relationships and people from that angle, I stopped trying to understand them and I started trying to understand me. And this taught me a lot about healing from codependency and healing from the programming that we wrestle with, that comes in with what I call undue tolerance, the concept of I need to tolerate this kind of thing because that's what love does, or that's how relationships work, or that's what I should do, kind of thing. And when I started connecting with, hey, I need to focus on me, I need to understand me more than I need to understand them, that's when my healing took off. That's why I focus dominantly on codependency and understanding yourself in relationship to those experiences and what you need, what you want, what matters to you, what produces your well-being. This starts to create a practice called self-reference. So in the From Addiction course I teach, and from the Happiness Strategy / Discovering You course that I teach, there's this concept called self-reference or internal orientation. So trauma and abuse orients us externally. We want to figure out them. We want to understand them in hopes that through that understanding, our pain will end, and two, we can change them. We can change the situation. We don't have to make hard decisions. This conditions us to see ourselves through their eyes, and this is why we often feel really paralyzed by rejection and disappointment, and euphoric with approval and inclusion, because their point of view, either by word or by action, is influencing how we see ourselves. So our self-image, our self-esteem, our self-concept is regulated through them rather than through our own connection to our own brilliance, well-being, and worthwhileness, our own value. And we end this process by creating a new one called internal orientation or self-reference. It's the practice of what do I think, what do I feel, how do I see myself? Despite how they see me, how do I see me? Now this is a trick. This is a hard one to grasp because your brain typically is going to automatically do the external reference and say, well, I see myself as unworthy or unlovable or as a problem because they see me as a problem. This is why we get fixated on people that are upset with us or that we have disappointed in a choice that we've made, because we're depending on them to regulate our sense of worth, our sense of safety, our sense of person, sense of identity. This is why I don't focus on the narcissist, because it keeps you outside of yourself. And I want you back in you, because that's the secret to your healing. Healing from codependency fundamentally is the self-discovery of self, and then the learning of loyalty, love, and respect for self. We treat ourselves with value, importance, and priority. When we do that, we're back with us. When you can identify that I don't like that thing, that hurts, that needs to stop. You're in your yard. You are advocating for you. But when you're over in their yard going, man, why do they do this? What do I need to do here? Did I cause this? Is this something that I need to fix? And they're yelling at you. They're calling you names. They're putting you down. They're discarding you. They're dismissing you. They're criticizing you because you have a want or need. You're missing the signal. So a person that's healthy and disappointed in something or has a problem with something you may have said or done or chosen or will do, they're not going to do that. They're going to approach you directly in a very direct, clear, and simple manner, in a kind manner, say, hey, I've got a concern here. We need to talk about this. Can we talk about it? They're not going to come at you, man, you're stupid. Why would you choose that? What's wrong with you? They're not going to do stuff like that because they don't feel like they have an entitlement, one, to hurt you, but two, they care about how you feel. And when you start to care about how you feel, you're winning. When you start to value what you feel, when you start to value how you think, what you want, what you need, this is how you start healing. This is the shift back to self, internal orientation, self-reference. Again, this is why I don't focus so much on the narcissist like a lot of other people do, because that doesn't heal you. The understanding is valuable, and there's plenty of people out there with fantastic information. I highly recommend going out and Ramani, I don't remember her name. I'll have to find it. She's a psychologist that's very well known for this. There's Melanie Evans Torres. There's Lisa Romano. Inner Integration. Richard Garrison. So these are people who've invested a lot of time in that, have high, I follow their material because it's, in my opinion, spot on. But when it comes to healing, that's my focus. That's my joy for you. That's what I want for you, is to discover yourself, to grow, to understand you and your brilliance, rather than investing all this energy and time in trying to understand them. Because understanding them isn't going to change anything. It isn't going to heal the pain that you're wrestling with. It's not going to shift the situation you're in, and it won't change them. The other gotcha with this is sometimes we think that if we can understand them, we can build tolerance to them. We can learn how to live with them. This is a function of fantasy. This is a function of ignoring the cost that this is having on your health, your wealth, and your well-being. Toxic relationships, toxic treatment is like a cancer to your emotions, to your identity. It's destructive. It's poison. It's not something you can, it's not like, what is it called? Iocane powder in The Princess Bride. You're not going to build up a tolerance to it. It will break you down. We're not designed to tolerate that. We're designed for connection. We're designed for play. We're designed for love. We're designed for safety. And for these things to exist in our world, we must first be in a safe space. We need to be in safe relationship with others and with life. That safety is generated by the choices we make. It's generated by understanding our needs, what they are, how they get met, and then we can safely, or we can choose people who are safe to meet it. That's the what, how, who of relating. This is why I focus so much on this stuff and not on, hey, the narcissist is this way. It's not going to help you. It's not going to get you down that road. So Laura says, oh my gosh, Marshall, I just thinking about needing to do this today with someone. Thank you for reaffirming. Yeah. I refuse to take responsibility for how others feel since I can't control that. Yeah, it's not your job. It's theirs. Especially if they're grown-ass adults. If they're a grown-ass adult, then, they can grow up and deal with their feelings. Yep, your controls in how you respond to it or react to it. Yeah, their reactions. Yeah, exactly. A person's reaction or response to what we do is a disclosure of their own programming. It's a disclosure of their own maturity. It's a disclosure of their own person and how they see the world. And that educates us as to where they fit or they don't in our reality. So that's why I focus on patterns of behavior and not on words. That's the magic. You can know me through my behaviors. You can know whether or not I align with what you want and how you want it. You can know whether or not I keep my word or not. If I'm reliable, if I'm trustworthy. Am I consistent? Am I safe? We deserve safety, period, in our relationships. And healthy people generate safety by the way they behave and how they respond to you. Whether it's in conflict or disappointment, sadness, joy, boredom, they had a need, shit hit the fan. They're very consistent in how they show up. And that's important. Toxic people are also very consistent in how they show up. It's just that they scare the shit out of you. You feel unsafe. Feel like you're walking on eggshells. You feel like you have to change you in order to be around them. That's like a nuclear bomb of red flags. It's like, walk away from that. Yeah, words are useless. They really are. It's the actions that define and demonstrate who the person is, because actions are a product of how the person thinks and how the person interprets themselves, you, and the world around them. So if someone's like abusive, now you're learning that that person feels entitled to displace their pain onto things outside of themselves. If someone's upset and they want to talk about it, you've learned that somebody wants to understand you because they want to understand themselves as well. They're coming from a more compassionate, mature point of view. It's through behavior we discover people. It's also through their mistakes because, again, we all have limits. We all have a struggle with these things at times. So, like, if I hit my wall, my capacity, what I do with that is very, very important to the people that are relating to me. Let's say I have a really bad day and I snap at my girlfriend. Okay, well, I need to own that. So I own it. I was like, well, shit, I am sorry. I got past my limit. I didn't respect that, and I didn't respect you. And here's what I'll do differently. I'll respect my limit. I'll let you know I can't do that. That is very important, because how a person recognizes a mistake or an error in their behavior and works to repair, make an effort to repair the connection and own it and adjusting change, develops safety. I have this saying I have repeat myself there. I have this saying I give to my to clients when I work with couples, and I don't do that much anymore. That's why I'm kind of like fidgeting right there. When I used to work with couples, or when I work with a client that's working into relationships, there's a premise I build on it called intimacy. Conflict generates intimacy. Safe conflict builds intimacy, because that allows us to be vulnerable, allows us to be seen and understood. And that's where we feel most safe. So intimacy isn't just the pretty flowers that rise up in the world and our relationship and everything's happy. Intimacy is generated in the conflict. And sometimes I call that the shit. Because we have to shovel shit in relationships. We have to do work. But the work isn't, working out a fight. The work is growing into understanding and connecting with each other. In safe conflict, we continue to build understanding and a safe way of relating and understanding ourselves and others. Because fundamentally, healthy relationships are premised on I care about how you feel, and I'm mindful of how you feel. And it's a reciprocal experience. So we both care about how each other feels, how we want it, and what we want. Intimacy and conflict allow us to accomplish those things. So this is why I focus you back on you. So you can know you. Because it's by knowing you that your happiness starts to come into view. It's by knowing you that you heal. Because again, healing from codependency is really about self-discovery. It's about knowing and understanding and valuing your needs, your wants, your limits, your joys, and being attuned to you rather than to them. Okay? So the focus really, really matters. If you're struggling to know yourself, ask yourself, watch how much you orient yourself to other people. How are you shaping yourself to what you think they want or what they say they want? And then come back to you. Come back to your body. Come back home to your physical shell and say, oh, I'm here. And start to listen. Start to sense into your body as to what you feel about the things that are happening in your world around you. That can be really disorienting. And that's understandable. If you get really activated there, like triggered, you can get my Be Calm system. It's free. Just go to becalm.freeself.com. I'll put a link in the description after this is done. And you can get the somatic tools I teach that help you regulate the nervous system so it's easier and safer to feel, to connect with you. Okay? So there you go. That's my tidbit for today, guys. I appreciate you. Remember to focus on you. And ultimately, remember that you're worth knowing, loving, and keeping. You guys have a great day. Be safe out there. Let me check the comments here. Yeah. Thank you for continuing to remind me that I'm not alone in this struggle. Yeah, right, Laura. We are. This is a journey. It's not an event. It's something we are constantly unlearning. Codependency by learning interdependency, by learning self-advocacy, by learning who we are. So you guys have a great day. Be safe out there, and I'll see you in our next training. Bye-bye, guys.